Hey, what's going on? Today we're going to be solving caas as a service from PicoCTF. Sorry about the inactivity on the uploads, by the way. Basically, this is a command injection lab. It's in the web application category. So it gives us an index.js file. It's pretty small. So we're just going to go through. So the first thing it does is it imports the Express library. So just note, if you do want to set this up on your own machine, like, you want to start this whole process so you can try hack it locally, you will have to run npm install and then the library express. If you already have it, then you could obviously just create a server.js or index.js file and then node file name.js, and that will start it locally, run on port 3000. The next big thing is the endpoint. So we have caas and we have a message. So these are the endpoints. So there are two things to take note of. So caas and then user input here. So we can put like pwned and that will echo back pwned. I'll get to how this all works in a second. Then we have request and response. So exec, we use the user games caas. So caas is a binary in Linux. So if we just look like user games caas, I don't know if I spelled that right, but it is it's a binary that basically is made like kind of like a troll. It just echoes back whatever you pass into it, basically. And I probably spelled that wrong somewhere. Then we use request, I believe, yeah, so request.params.message, so it's basically getting the message parameter value. Then we have a timeout and an error and a standard out. If there's an error, it returns the status code 500 and then it just basically closes. Not the actual browser, obviously, it just doesn't allow you to view anything. So I'll try to trigger that error. There you go. So this is kind of the 500. If there is no error, then it gives you the response type in text format, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. So basically there's two things to note. This imports the exec library or module, which comes from the child process. So something like require child_process.exec cmd. So cmd obviously meaning your command, so pdw. This would actually be secure because it's not passing user input. There's no way for you as an attacker to control this string right here. If there was user input, say like, they're passing some input, right, then obviously if there's no kind of regex or anything to prevent RCE, it would lead to command injection. So that's where the vulnerability, that's where the library gets imported. So exec, and then exec executes the caas binary and passes our user input. So here's where the vulnerability occurs, right here. So it calls caas binary. That's fine, that isn't a vulnerability. It's inside of a backtick, which is classed as a string, but then it's passing user input. It's getting the user input from the message, which is where the vulnerability occurs. So the next thing to kind of note is that there is no regex, no kind of sanitization, no nothing, no filter in here. So we can assume that we can just get RC. Now, some people may be wondering, well, it's called caas, which just echoes back a string. So no matter what you pass, it's treated as a string, not actually executed as a binary. So e.g. ls is a binary and user bin ls, but isn't going to be executed as a binary because it's going to be echoed back as a string from caas. You're correct in that, but I made a little example over here. So basically we define a variable called exec, which requires the child process. It executes cat readme.txt. This is completely secure, this whole string, this whole piece of code basically, it's all secure. However, let's just say it's cat readme.txt, right? But let's just say there's cat and then it passes some sort of user input, right? So let's just say it passes user input right here, instead of backticks. So let's just say it's passing now user input, right? this would be vulnerable. And now some people may be saying, but all you can do is read files. How's that going to get code exec? Well, if we come over to my VM, we run node exec.js, we can see it reads the readme.txt, and we can pass commands after using stuff like ampersand, pipe, you know, all of these kind of special characters to kind of execute commands, right? So we can do the exact same with the caas binary. So if we just come to caas and then we enter some string, okay, and then we enter one of those characters and we enter a command like id, we're going to see that we are node, okay. And if we do pdw, we're in the application directory, and so if we ls, we can see there's file.txt, and we can simply just count that, assume that's our flag, and there's the flag. Protection wise, you never really want to create you never want to use a child process, an exec with user input. And if you have to, for whatever reason, what I would personally suggest you doing is either using a regex or using some heavy kind of sanitization and maybe a WAF, but never rely on a WAF. They can be bypassed, as filters can, but you know, I'm sure if you Google hard enough, you'll find a regex that isn't bypassed yet. That's probably your best bet. So you use functions like preg_match. I'm not sure. It's really down to you. You can use replace, so you can replace a string. But yeah, there's multiple things you can do. So like if a certain character was found, or well, if you wanted to look for a certain character, you can use .replace. Then you look for the character, I believe, and then it's the replacement character, and then obviously your string if it's not already appended on, but obviously you're using .replace, so it's already appended onto that current function that your item. So there you go. That's basically the PicoCTF CAAS in a nutshell. That's my explanation. I hope it made sense. Yeah, have a good one. Goodbye. See you in the next one.